right, thank you guys for joining us today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. Got a good one here for you today that we hope and pray will be really, really helpful for you. Okay, so it's getting into midsummer. Everybody's kind of getting ready for the upcoming hunting season, right? Well, the number one thing that we've been asked as far as messages, calls, whatnot, is what kind of arrow setup can I do or should I use, and what can I get by with a light poundage bow? We're talking a 40-pound bow. Okay, well, it just so happened that we had one that we just finished up, a custom order bow, that the guy pulls a 29-inch draw. So he wanted 38 pounds because he's in Texas. No limits, no minimums on poundage, so 38-pound longbow, and wants to hunt deer, hogs, and whatever else they've got out there. Okay, so to set up a hunting rig for a 38-pound bow, we put our heads together. We did a lot of testing and whatnot. And guys, I'm going to show you what we come up with, because we've had a multitude of calls concerning 40 to 43-pound bows. What arrow do I need to run? How much point weight can I get by with? What can I kill deer and whatever else with? A lot of guys are even doing the elk hunts with them. And so anyway, guys, I want to address this today and see if we can be of some help to answer some of these questions about the light poundage bow setup. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, guys, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this setup. Okay, this particular setup that I have here, this is the custom little longbow, the little Passion double carbon bow. And it is a 36 at 28 inches. This bow's 36 pounds at 28 inches. Customer draws 29 inches, so he's going to be drawing 38 to 38 and a half pounds. That's all these bows tend to do, is 2 to 2.5 pounds per inch. So I could go in and scale it, but I'm going to guarantee you the bow won't crack 39 pounds. Okay, it will not at 29 inches. 39 pounds would be maximum. Okay, so what we decided to do is build an arrow that would be efficient for hunting, but yet still be able to spine out and shoot out of this bow. Okay, I'm going to show you this arrow, guys. I'm going to show you how we come up with this. So what you can do to figure that out. Now, this particular setup that we're running for our customer by the name of Jose Lerma, wonderful guy out in Texas, just itching to do some hunting and wanted a light pound, really efficient bow that's super comfortable to shoot, and this bow definitely is going to be that. Okay, so we went with an Axis 600. That's right, we went with an Axis 600, and we went with 75 grain stainless. That's right, 75 grain stainless outserts and Woodsman Elite 125 grain heads. Now, we could get by with a 150, no problem, but this is a 30-inch arrow, 30-inch arrow. So when you get to a 30-inch arrow, you borderline having to go to a 500, okay? That's kind of the length of the arrow determines the spine more than anything does, okay? So we were able to get by with a 600, which tuned very well out of this bow, running an even smooth 200 grains on the front, okay? So 200 grains out of a thick-walled hunting arrow like an Axis is definitely a good setup. And I'm going to shoot it right quick, guys, and I'm going to shoot some bear shafts. I have another bow here, customer's bow, that is 43 pounds. And I'm going to show you guys what it takes to set up a 43-pound bow also. So I'm going to shoot Jose's little bow right quick with the hunting setup here, just to kind of give you an idea of how these things actually shoot. Very, very efficient. And I draw 27 1/4. Okay, so I'm only pulling about 35 pounds with this setup. Okay, so about a 35-pound bow is all I'm doing. Dead in there. They don't get any more accurate. That broadhead just dead center tagged that little piece of paper right there. Okay, prettiest arrow flight in the world, straight as a laser. Okay, all right, laser straight. That bow is completely set up and done. So now what we're going to do, guys, we're going to move on to a 43-pound bow. Keeping these lightweight bows close to the same weight to show you what you need to do to get them set up right for hunting. Okay, I've got a 43-pounder, little Passion 56-inch bow. And I've got a variety of bear shafts here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna shoot some of these bear shafts even at distance here. I wanna shoot these things at distance. And then we're gonna go down there and look at them and show you, okay, what they look like at target impact, and I can see the flight from this kind of distance. If they're flying tail left, tail right, whatever, I will know. But these that I happen to have brought out here from testing out of light pound bows, every one of them work just fine. So that tells you if there are 5 complete different setups, different arrows, different point weights, different lengths, you can virtually do whatever you want to make an arrow work well out of your light pound hunting bow. It's not hard, guys. And to give you an example of what I've got here, I have got a 500 Gold Tip Hunter Pro with a whopping 275 grains on the front. That's right, serious hunting weight, 275 on the front on a 500, cut 28.5 inches. Now, because I'm a 27-ish draw, and I can easily shoot a 28-inch carbon-to-carbon cut arrow, easy. I got plenty left. Okay, so if you're kind of like me and you have around a 27-inch draw, great and fine. A 500 with that kind of weight is going to work for you. Next, we have a 500 traditional only bare bow arrow. Now this is nothing but a 5mm axis, thick walled, heavy hitting, penetrating hunting arrow. These are just like the Axis traditionals. We're running the Victory Shock 80 grain stainless outserts and 150 grain heads. So we've got well over 200 grains on the front of this arrow here. And it is cut exactly 28.5 inches, just like my Gold Tip, okay? So I know that these actually will tune out of 40-pound bows. And I said 40, I have a 43, but they're shooting out of 40-pound bows for me, just fine. They might be just almost a little touch stiff, but they're plenty acceptable, very, very close. Now, the perfect flyer is a 600. That's right, a 600 from 38 to 43 pounds. A 600 is fine as long as it is not cut more than 28 inches long, maybe 29. Let's just say 29 is going to be your max, okay? No more than that, running past any 175 to 200 grains on the front. That's where you're going to top out on front weight on a 600, because it's just going to get too weak on you. But boy, do they shoot good out of these lightweight bows if you don't exceed too much point weight or arrow length. Now, if I were to cut this arrow down another inch, yeah, I could load it way up, like I've got this one. Just to give you an example, here is a 27.5 inch 600 Gold Tip Warrior with 250 on the front. A 600 pushing 250. You're talking about some FOC. Look at Lord have mercy, this thing's got it. Oh my gosh, this arrow has got some FOC. This set up now. Okay, this is a Victory Carbon Trad 450. This 450 is a super heavy arrow running the same point weight setup. We're going to see what this one does. It's been a while since I shot this one, but generally it usually tunes okay out of bows in the low 40s very well. Okay, there again, it's all in how long they're cut. That one's not quite as short as the others. So arrow length determines everything of how much point weight you can run at your pounds. Okay, so I'm going to shoot these things for you guys, and we'll go down and take a look at them. And there again, all of these arrow weights. Big question that's always asked: how much total arrow weight do I need to run? Well, I say 500 grains be your minimum. If you're shooting a 43-pound bow, push 500 grains. Stay at that 11, 12 grains per pound mark, and you're going to have plenty of momentum in that arrow. Plenty. Don't go below 10. 10's kind of the limit. 10 grains per pound is the limit. That's the low end for me. A hunting arrow needs to be a little bit more. You just need a little bit more. If you're shooting a 40-pound bow, minimum 400 grain total arrow weight, but preferably 450. 500's fine. 42, 43, 44-pound bows, definitely over 500 grains total weight is what you need. Okay, so let's shoot this thing at distance to show you guys just how good that they do bear shaft. Check this out. Ooh, straight. No right, no left. Okay, here's the big heavy Victory Carbon Trad 450. A 450 may be too stiff for this rig, unless we, have a little more length, but then again, it may be fine. I'm talking about a hunting arrow. Now, this is a heavy arrow. Okay, slightly stiff. It's a little tiny bit tail right. Just a little stiff. Gold Tip Warrior 600 with 250 on the front. Good setup right here now. Whoa, that was the perfect arrow. That was perfect. Man, that flew excellent. Whew. That was good. Okay, here's a 600 5mm axis / bare bow with a paint job arrow, 150 grain tip stock insert. Not quite enough hunting weight for me, but I guarantee you it'll shoot good out of this bow. So if you say, well, how much weight can I go with on a 600 one of these arrows, which is good? You can go with plenty more if you'll cut it down a little bit. This arrow is cut 29 inches. I don't need a 29-inch arrow. But if you'll cut it, if you can, as to where you shoot it, if you were to cut this arrow, say even 28 inches, you could put an easily another 100 grains on the front and it'll tune. Let's shoot it and see. Okay. Oh my gosh. Flawless. Flawless flight. Boy, was that pretty. Yes, it was. That was good flight. Okay, now that's why I like bare shafting, guys. It don't lie. A bare shaft, if you can shoot back here at 20 yards bare shaft and there is no wiggle, if it is like a laser going to that target, that's what you want. All right, last but not least, here is a 500 Gold Tip, cut 28.5 inches with 275 on the front. Massive hunting arrow out of a 43-pound bow. Let's see what it does. Very good. Slightly stiff. I mean, the slightest bit stiff. If that arrow was cut 29 inches, it'd be a winner. It'd be great. But 28.5, it was kind of pushing almost stiff. Let's go down here and look at them, guys. Check this out. I love shooting bare shafts because they tell the story of exactly what you have. They tell it like it is. And that's why I like them. They do. Okay. So now this tells it a little bit more, even though they flew pretty decent. This medium here, I'm gonna let this down. This medium in this target is very accurate. I have found that a hay bale is one of the very best mediums to shoot arrows in of anything that I have tested and tried. It is because it shows exactly how they land in the target. Exactly. There's no variance, guys. So as you can see, okay, here we have the Victory Carbon Trad 450. This arrow was a little stiff. She flew a little tail right, so a 450 is a little stiff for that bow. Okay. Here we have the Gold Tip, last one I shot, the Gold Tip Hunter Pro 500 with 275, was just a hair stiff cut at 28.5 inches. It needed to be a little bit longer and it would have been just fine with great hunting weight. Now, all three of these are flawless. Flawless, straight. Perfectly straight. No anything. And we had a, let's see, this is a 500 with 80 grain outserts, 150 grain head, a 500 5mm axis cut 28 inches. Okay. 600 5mm axis, bare bow arrow, but it's only running about 165 grains on the front. It needed a little bit more point weight for killing power, but flew perfectly. So there again, if you took this 600 and you were to cut it down some, it would allow you to add enough point weight to hunt with it. Now, the Gold Tip Warrior, straight as it could possibly be, cut at 27.5 inches with 250 on the front. So that tells you I had to cut a 600 all the way down to 27.5 inches to put 250 on the front and it'd be perfect. But that's what it took and it works. So that gives you kind of a variety of arrows that will work out of this bow, and what you can do to tweak them. If you already have arrows, it's just say you got your bow and you've got your arrows and you want to start figuring out what you need to do. First thing I would do is strip your feathers off. If you have a wrap, save the wrap, because wraps do stiffen them. Just peel the feathers. Just skin the feathers and leave what's left of the wrap on there for testing purposes. Then start playing with your point weights, guys. We're talking insert weight, tip weight. Just play with it and see what you can get by at the length you already have them cut, and see if you can get them to tune perfectly to your bow, and you'll be fine. If you have to cut them, cut them. But I'm betting most people that buy arrows, they are plenty long. Sometimes 3, 4, 5 inches longer than what you actually need, unless you're shooting gap, and you may need that to figure your point on. Exactly, I understand that. But if you're shooting instinctive, no, it doesn't matter. As long as you've got at least maybe an inch of shaft to keep the broadhead off of your finger, you're fine. So it leaves you plenty of arrow to go to chopping and playing with to stiffen it up if need be. But you can always weaken an arrow really quick by adding point weight. It always does. They're very sensitive to that. But this is how you do it, guys. You set up a variety of arrows and go with it. That's what we love. It's so fun. So lightweight hunting bows are not hard to set up. We're talking 43 pound bows, shooting really and truly, it would shoot any of the 5 of these arrows. 2 of them with very slight adjustment. 3 of them are perfect right out of the chute, just super easy. So we're talking 500 grainish arrows, finished arrows, more than enough weight to kill anything you want to kill. And that, to me, that is key. That's most important. Getting a heavy enough arrow with a sharp broadhead and a quiet bow. That's what's most important, guys. So thank you for joining us on Instinctive Addiction Archery. We love you guys so much, and we hope that this has been a big help to you. Join us again. We've got a lot of new videos coming up, a whole lot of stuff, some really, really good ones. We're just wide open with all this. And as we get into midsummer, we're going to do more and more and more and more hunting setup videos, getting your rig ready to go to the woods. Guys, thank you so much, and as always, God bless you.